All right, let's get started. So first, we're going to talk about Project 2020. Um, if you've seen some of my more recent videos, my Instagram, I had the one of one Mike Trout Ermsey. Um, I had it for about 3 weeks. I flipped it. I thought I got a good price. Um, and then 3 or 4 days later, I'm getting all these texts. What are you doing? That thing was worth at least double what you sold it for. Because the base Ermsey card when I had sold the one of one was only about $450. And then 3 or 4 days later, probably about 10 days ago, it rose up to I don't know, 2,000, 2,500, probably some sales above 3,000. So it's been a wild ride. I took some of those profits, I reinvested them, maybe not at the most opportune time. Um, but I was able to take advantage. Let's just say the earnings that I reinvested, I didn't lose money on them or too much money yet. At least I don't know where all these prices are. It seems like as fast as they went up, they went down just as quickly. So all in all, and a lot of you here probably saw Sports Card Investor's video. He talked about it at really the peak. I'm not sure if he made his video the day of the Griffey Shore run when that was released, but 99,000, even 60,000 for the Nolan Ryan, that probably stunned me a little bit more. I was expecting probably 60 to 80,000 for Griffey. When I saw Nolan Ryan go for over 60,000, great player, but he's just not as popular as Griffey. And I didn't think the card was really too impressive, at least for me. But that's one of the fun things about this set that we can all have our own opinions on it. So yeah, we saw a ton of parabolic growth, but with or without SCI's video, it was going to pop. Prices were bound to come down quite a bit, and it wasn't just what Sports Card Investor did. It might have been a very very small piece of it, but I mean, when you're talking about print runs of 99,000, I think everybody realized that the get rich quick scheme wasn't real. It might have been real for a few weeks for those that bought in really early, especially in April. But things like that with a ton of hurting behavior, people irrationally buying. They're literally afraid of missing out. Their friends are telling them how much money they're making. I remember going into a Facebook group, and one guy that I kind of know, I've done a trade with him. He said that his total, the total amount he had spent on Project 2020 cards, and this is like 2 weeks ago, when things are going real well. He said that he had spent 2,400, and he said that his paper gains or the total amount that they were worth at that time was $30,000. And then somebody commented on his post and said, "Me too. I'm sitting in the same exact place." So you have these people sitting on 15x, 12x gains, some people probably even higher. I mean, when things start to go south, do you really think that they need or they can even afford to hold their position if things start to go south? Um, so it's been an odd situation because a lot of people have thought that this is something that's different, and it is different. It attracts art collectors, and I get it. A whole new community, a whole new group of followers of all of these artists. Maybe some of these people liked sports before, and this is the type of thing that would get them into sports cards as well for the long term. But what we saw over the last 2 weeks with the rapid volatility, it was different than the art collector. It wasn't the art flipper that was causing this panic race to the bottom. It was the sneaker head type. It was the flipper speculator type that maybe didn't come from sneaker flipping, but people got addicted to the rush. People thought that it was easy money. And when people realized that, once the Griffey Shore print run came out, it was almost like, how am I going to continue this model where I'm selling all of these cards that I'm buying from Topps Direct? I'm using that income that I'm generating to invest it in new cards, and it's like a cycle where you can continue to make money and make money. One of the things that personally, I haven't heard anybody else say this, but I think that the earliest cards fell by the highest percentage because more of those cards were in hand. And I think we had the nature of this and the fact that it takes 5 weeks or longer for Topps to give people the cards, I think it creates a disproportionate buying and selling. I think you're less likely to sell if you don't have the card in hand than buy from a pre-seller, even though a lot of people will have said that that's not best practice. Only buy from certain people in Topps. But I think that's what created maybe the 60, 70% drop in like the Urmsy Ichiro. Everything's going down at this point. I mean, I don't need to mention specific cards, but it's been more than 50% for a lot of cards. I bought 48 Urmsy Gibsons from Twins Jake because I missed the cutoff with Topps, and he's a reliable pre-seller, so I can trust him that he's not going to cancel my order. So I've been selling some of those. I did 2 days after I made the purchase because they went up 5 times. I figured it was silly to not sell at least some of them, and I'm starting to get the requested cancellations. I don't really know what to do with it. I know I'm always going to lose, but I'm trying to ignore them for now. If they want to ask for a refund afterwards and go through a PayPal chargeback, maybe I'll allow them to do that. But it's annoying, and it's annoying because as a seller, when somebody returns your item or cancels a sale, you lose that PayPal commission. And yeah, for a Gibson Urmsy card, it might be a few bucks, but that adds up. And I think the principle of it is just wrong. Sure, I picked up some cards that went down in value. Picked up this good in here. I got these at 240. These were up at like 700 at one point, probably a few sales above that. Now I'm sure it's back 220. I don't even want to check, to be honest. Picked up this one. So basically what I was doing was what everybody else was doing. To be honest, I wasn't a firm believer in the project until I'm part of a Facebook group with BRoth6 and a few other guys. And they were clearly having a ton of enjoyment with it. They were making a lot of money with it. And I was thinking, okay, well, I'm playing with house money at this point. Closed out the 1-of-1 trout sale. And, maybe I'll bet on this momentum a little bit. So even though prices had already doubled, maybe tripled, I thought I could get in. And I did before they tripled again. But what I wasn't accounting for was by the time I actually got these cards in the mail, because a lot of them were actually in hand, the ones that I bought, prices had already gone down way too much. And I'm not the type of guy that'll, my reputation, to me, it's worth too much where I'm going to, over $100, $200 a lost. I'm not going to play that game, especially when I'm affected by it too. What's going on, BRoth6? Looking at Project 2020 right now, and there's a website, prjct2020.com. He keeps track of the market values and the rankings across all the cards. And if you look at the market cap right now, I think it's around like $75 million. So if you were to take all the cards that have been issued, multiplied by their most recent sold to get their price, then you come up with a market cap for each card, and then you aggregate that for the entire set. So 75 million, and at the peak, it was probably well above 120 million. One of the things I was thinking about was, what's another really successful set that I can compare this to that's kind of basic, that's easy to calculate the market cap of? And I thought about 2018 Topps Chrome Sapphire. Really, really big set. Boxes of that are selling for $5,000. Maybe eBay auction, you might be able to get one for $3,000. They came out at 200. The Ronald Acuna is the gem of the set. Probably, he's probably got some low numbered autographs too, but the one that most people know of is the base card. And there's 285-ish of those. And I was trying to compare the market cap of Topps Chrome Sapphire from 2018 with 2020 Project. And I was stunned at what I found. Even if you assume all of the Acunas were 10s, and I know, there might be like 80 of them or something. But even if they're all PSA 10s at like 6,000-7,000, the market cap of just that Acuna card is like well below 3 million. So, Gleyber Torres, the next guy in the set. Next guy, maybe it's Rafael Devers, Ohtani. And if you're to take all those base cards and, and the autographs as well, you're going to end up with a market cap that was probably less than 10% of what Project 2020 was. And this is a set that it's still not 25% complete. we still have about 300 more cards going for the rest of the year. So that just shows you how popular Project 2020 got so quickly. It's obscene. In comparing it to another great set, 2018 Topps Chrome Sapphire, it took a while for that set to gain in popularity. The Acuna and a PSA 10 probably didn't hit 2,000 till like, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. It's just insane how fast this set has grown. So, I don't fault people for selling when everything was crashing. I would have done this. I would have probably done the same. It's all about preserving capital at that point. You're up 3x, you're up 4x. A lot of the people were probably like, I'm out. This isn't going to work for me. I don't collect baseball cards. I collect sneakers, or maybe I'm just a speculator and I wasn't that interested in the set already. Long-term prospect wise, I didn't really have a lot of faith in what the set could be a year from now or even 3 months from now. So sure, there's some of those people too, but I think a lot of people are just capitalizing on realized gains, 5x, 3x, 6x. It's all about preserving capital, risk management at this point. So my thoughts on the set. So having said all that, this, regardless of what happens, the prices could continue to fall. I don't know what's going to happen. If I was to guess, I would say that the Mr. Cartoon Clemente. So I'm following some of these cards because I kind of like them. The Mr. Cartoon Clemente is one I want. It's not one artist. I like a lot of the different ones. Ricky Henderson has this card. This is from Taylor. So probably not the most short printed Ricky, but I like it a lot. A lot of detail went into that. And I just think that this set, for it to get as popular as it did, it has a decent floor already. And it's garnered a lot of attention. For a while, I was tracking the increase in views on the blowout thread, worst set since 1991 Fleer. And it's changed a lot, and it's changed in my eyes, and I think it'll change in a lot of other people's eyes. At first, I was like, this is a gimmick. I'm going to make some money off this, buy an undervalued Trout card. Thought it was the gem of the set at the time. It's been surpassed by some other cards. But now, I'm taking an interest in multiple different artists. At first I kind of like the Ermsey, and then I'm looking at the other stuff and I'm like, you know what? Like, Mr. Cartoon Clemente looks really nice. Saladin Griffey, I thought was the best Griffey. Don C has some really nice ones, especially recently. Baller has created some really nice stuff. And, it's just cool that everybody can kind of appreciate art. It's a completely new offering, something that Topps has never had the balls to do before. So getting into Topps, I think this set was a gigantic win. A gigantic win from Topps. You look at what's happening in the hobby, you have buyers, even me, people that need a source product, breakers that can't get their hands on product anymore. It's too hard. It's too hard to get those exclusive licenses with Topps or even with distributors. We're not getting allocated as much as we used to. We're getting cut at the last second. We don't know what we're getting at the last second. Prices are increasing. Distributors are holding product back. It's become a big issue. And to be honest, hobby shops that I've talked to and dealers that I've talked to that have these licenses direct through Topps and with distributors, they're not blaming it on Topps. They're not blaming price increases on Topps. They're blaming it on the distributors. And then you could argue, there's counterpoints to that. They could sell directly if they wanted to. If I was a distributor, I wouldn't sell to hobby shops. I build up distribution channels and get rid of Prism pretty easily. But the model isn't the best right now. This capitalism in its purest form, unsupervised. Blowout considers himself a distributor. They have prices that are well above what most distributors would price things at. The three main guys consider themselves distributors. So what I'm trying to get to is this Topps direct model. They've been trying to do it. They've been trying to hammer it. They had some momentum with Topps Living Set. Nothing as crazy as this in regards to secondary market and the way the resale values have been. But this has become a transcendent set. So when I sold the one-of-one Trout, I didn't mention this because in the video where I talked about selling it, because I was honestly afraid of a return happening. Again, at the time of making the video, the base Ermsey Trout was still like $450. And I don't know, anything can happen. At first I'm happy. I'm like, yes, the prices went up on the base card, so I'm going to avoid a return. This is awesome. I have a happy buyer. He posted it up on Instagram. He's bragging about it. I'm like, all right, this is great. But I don't know. Things have changed, and I think that I was fearing that 2020 Bowman, that would distract too many people from Tops Living, and I thought that Tops Living would start going down. Basically, I was waiting for the next major Tops release, and I was like, oh damn it, okay, Tops is meeting their May 21st or whatever date or whatever it was to release their product, as they said. Sold a one of one. Then I found out that Tops was experiencing some delays. Hobby shops weren't getting fully allocated and then people's pre-orders getting canceled from a retail side with blasters from Walmart, something that's never happened before. But people are getting allocations now. Bowman is abundant, and I think that I don't think that any of the other sets are a threat. Top Series 2, um, maybe more of the classic collectors, maybe that would be the type of person that would be into Project 2020, but I don't think so. I think that the fact that this set blew up after Bowman came out, I don't really see this set not becoming an important one for years to come. Sure, Tops could really F this up. They have no incentive to not do this next year. They want to capture as much of the profits as possible from this set. Maybe they increase prices next year. Maybe they release some of the same players a few years from now. There's Stan Musial. There's guys that they haven't featured yet. The Kirby Pucketts of the world, Albert Pujols. So they could do this again next year. But even if they did, and if they were to beat this into the ground, I don't think it would take away from some of the more short printed cards from this set, some of the earliest cards from this set, the Ben Baller Ichiro. I think some of these would be staples. I don't know what they're going to be worth. In most cases, probably not as much as the real authentic rookie cards in the top grades. And that all depends a little bit on supply and demand. But I just think this set's pretty cool because you have, even as somebody like me that likes to profit from stuff, you have the stuff that's objective, the print runs, you have the player, you have the artist, which there's some that are clearly more popular than others, but then you have the aesthetics of the card, which is very difficult to quantify. And and you can collect it if you like it, you can try to flip it if you like it. I don't know. So I think the falling knife is about to stop. Having said that, I probably wouldn't be too aggressive buying anything right now. I told somebody the other day, I'm like, I don't think Mr. Cartoon Clemente drops below 375. I don't know if Ichiro Ermsey drops below 300. That's kind of what my projection is, but that's all based off of hunch, and I'm usually wrong. So yeah, I agree with you, Jake. This is going to go down as an all-time great set. And again, paradigm shift. If Tops can do more of these direct releases and cut out the middleman, then I think it's going to be great for a growing hobby, satisfied consumers, potentially more consumers coming into the hobby that don't get pushed out because of price pressure. And I can see it, guys, because I'm sourcing a ton of product. As soon as Tops turn those printing presses off and PSA shut down, man, everybody was trying to buy old product. 2018, 2017, those prices have gone up really, really quickly. I know they've done the same with basketball as well for other reasons. So yeah, so don't be myopic. Don't be narrow-minded. Don't look at this as, oh, it was a bubble, it's going away. It got too popular too fast. It's just like E-Tops. It's just like Tops Living. People preferred pack pulled cards. Don't think that the way things were a year from now are going to be the way things are forever. Things change, people evolve, and this set garnered a hell of a lot of attention. Just the amount of eBay searches. Somebody showed that statistic on what they were for Project 2020 versus everything else for those like 2 weeks. It's insane. And I think that, I don't know if all of these cards will retain value. I don't know what print runs will stabilize at. That's a huge wild card. If print runs start to go back towards like the 15,000 range, which could happen eventually, maybe some of the cards are at 15,000 even today, print run wise, even though they were in the first 100 that Tops released. Maybe maybe those cards aren't worth as much and not too much more than the ones that come out afterwards that are in the 15,000 print run range. So, maybe target ones that are under 10, maybe target ones that are under 5. Maybe you just buy them straight from Tops just because you like them. They're $20 and you can't really go wrong. It's another one I picked up. This is the first Jeter, the King Saladin Jeter. Yeah. All right. So that's 30 minutes. So another thing I was thinking of was everybody was banking on Gary V for a while. It's like, when's it coming out? When's the pump? What's happening? What's going on Friday night with Gary V and Blake Jamieson? Did you watch Blake Jamieson's video? As soon as I saw that video, started to get a really ominous feeling. As soon as you're banking on anticipated hype to happen, or if a product or if a card is so celebrity reliant, especially if that person hasn't even expressed their opinions on it, it's almost like that Gary V opinion, that expected interview was already baked into not just the current valuations, but also the print run of the Griffey Shore. I think it was all because that the Gary V hype video. And then as soon as it comes out that it's not going to happen with Blake, prices start to go down a little bit more. So I don't know if that crashed the market a little bit more, but you never really want to be banking on one celebrity, even though that celebrity has a ton of followers, because that's really just artificial demand. Those are the types of people that have been, leading this spike to be 10x, 15x as it has been. The sneakerheads, the people that are not just sneakerheads, okay, but the people that are asking for returns at this moment, that want to get out, that had never intended to hold any of these cards for longer than 4 weeks, basically. But yeah, so no baseball. I don't want it to happen. Huge baseball fan. I run a fantasy baseball league. We already had our draft. I'm in another big league with a bunch of guys. Supposed to travel to the draft for that. For the last few years, we've done Vegas, Miami, Baltimore. Done a lot of destination drafts in New York City. But I don't want baseball to be canceled. But the longer this goes on, people had said that June. It looked like spring training was going to start in June for this shortened season, but I don't know. It's already June 1st. Baseball was supposed to start officially in early July. Clearly, there's a lot of angst on both sides. I don't want to point fingers. I can see both sides. It's just really pathetic because this hasn't really happened to the other sports, at least for a while. And this won't be good for a sport that's losing viewership year over year. Maybe not viewership, but attendance is definitely dropping year over year. And we can't afford this. We can't afford another absence that maybe doesn't have to do with coronavirus, even though it sort of does. Other sports are starting again. But anyways, no baseball means that you have to think that more money will come out of the younger players, the unprovens, the prospects, and probably be pushed into, if they're not pushed into other sports, Project 2020 will benefit from that, I think. All right, so I know. Yeah, so card prices are all based on documentaries these days. It's gotten pretty crazy. And some of these don't even have tentative dates for when they're going to be scheduled. The Magic Johnson, the Kobe, and Magic Johnson was probably undervalued already, so I get that. But like McGuire, Sosa, so that's June 14th. And people didn't really care about Sosa for a long time. I was holding on to his rookie for a while. And for that to get a 10x return and for people to still be buying that in anticipation when the 90 Leaf PSA 10 rookie is probably around $300, up there with Thomas, kind of crazy. It's just crazy. So and McGuire, I know, is very well liked. I had a video recently where I talked about Barry Bonds and how I thought he was a good investment. Talked about buying steroid guys. A lot of people asked me about McGuire, and that was before the documentary news came out. And Bonds has the statistical edge over McGuire. McGuire has the likability. They both clearly cheated. But with some players, with Barry Bonds, with Roger Clemens, this is a point that I probably didn't do the best job emphasizing in the video. They were so good that it doesn't even matter if they get into the Hall of Fame. They're super undervalued regardless. And it doesn't matter how much people hate him now. I think at some point people are going to look back and realize how good they were. People are getting more and more obsessed with stats, more obsessed with WAR. You look at Trout. You're going to look at Trout after he retires, compare his numbers to Barry Bonds, and be like, "Oh, okay, he was pretty good." And Roger Clemens, the amount of Cy Youngs he won, longevity he had, probably helped that he took steroids to last as long as he did. But he was good for quite a while. Yeah. So Bowman 2020, hobby prices pre-sale wise, at least on Blowout, they started at about $200 for hobby box, 24 packs, one autograph. They rose to 250. I think that might have been after COVID, maybe after Topps closed. I'm not sure, but it was around that time. They were 250. And then they went up to $300. And that was probably before Bowman was delayed the first time. It was probably around that time, March or something, March, April. Um, and they came out at $300, and now they're sitting at between 250 to 270, depending on the sale. They're generally in the 250 to 270 range today. So if you compare that to 2019 Bowman last year, 2019 Bowman last year had a strong checklist. Wander Franco, at the time, he wasn't the number one prospect in baseball, but he is now. Julio Rodriguez, not a lot of people knew about him, or even Marco Luciano. I guess Joey Bart was probably the number two at the time. He got injured. But now, after a year that's been released before that, so basically in January, Baseball America is when they redo their top prospect list. And 2019 Bowman had three players in the top 20: Luciano, J. Rudd, and Wander Franco. Joey Bart, probably 30, 35. Solid checklist. 2019 Bowman Hobby came out at $130 per hobby box. I actually got it at 110. I think most people saw it at 130. Went up to 140, 150, maybe after the first month or two. Stabilized around like 160 to 200. Over the last 2 or 3 months, it's past 200, probably 220 range. And that's a very strong product. All right. Won't talk about blasters, but I guess we will. Those were available for a while. Those were on the shelves for at least 6 months, I think, at SRP $20. And now you have 2020 Bowman. Hobby boxes again came out at about double, actually more than that, at $300. But now they're about double where 2019 Bowman came out at. If you look at Cardboard Connection, is something that I look at a lot. They evaluate the lineup, the checklist, basically. They gave it a score of 1 to 5. And they gave 2019 Bowman like a 3.6. They gave 2020 Bowman at 1.9. All right. But this is value. It's dependent on value, dependent on how much the product costs too. So that's part of the reason why. So Jason Dominguez, obviously huge prospect, hasn't played a minor league game, international signing from Dominican Republic, center fielder, big body, switch hitter, power to all fields, 5'10", 190, stocky frame, Yankees. Okay. His Bowman Chrome autograph base is going for about $1,500 now. The next highest guy is Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's around like 350. And then Robert Poisson is behind him in the 200 range. Raw base Bowman Chrome autograph. So, I mean, is there a chance that this checklist could be as good as last year? Yeah, I think there is. Could 3 of these guys be in the top 20 in January next year when Baseball America comes out with the revised rankings? I would say that it's not a lock. I don't even know if it's a greater than 50% chance, but I think it's possible. Does one of those guys have the chance of being a top number 1 prospect? I would say that's under 50% probability. So, and I get the prices have to do with the shortage, Topps being closed, people going crazy. The Prism Mania is probably drawing in some basketball fans that, think or have heard that, oh, we're going to rip some baseball and let's pull this off the shelves and resell it or whatever, or collect it and try to flip the cards as singles. But right now, I checked Facebook, and there is a supply demand, I think, mismatch. And that's what's causing the prices to come down on Bowman. the first allocations were delayed. The second allocations haven't happened yet, but I think there's the first allocations. Hobby shops are starting to get all the product, and you're starting to see people not open the product because they know that the breaks suck. And if you know what, if you know, if you know what I know about the experience of opening up Bowman, even at the $130 price point or under that, where it usually comes out at, and the ability to turn a profit is actually quite difficult. Sometimes it takes buying a whole case, and you can really get hit hard if you buy a whole case and you don't do too well. You need like 3 or 4 boxes to really kill it. Um, one box at a time. It's definitely kind of a crapshoot, but people are opening this product and realize that they're not getting crap. And you're seeing a lot of people understand that, oh, this is a tough product to get. Blasters are being pulled off the shelf. I think people are buying the blasters more to resell them instead of to open them and sell the singles, or open them and then sell the singles or collect them, keep them in their PCs, etc. So people are starting to catch on to, ooh, Bowman could be a good investment. So but the fact that not a lot is getting opened is bringing prices down. So if nobody opens a product, then you'd have a ton of people reselling it to other people who are then reselling it. So anyways, long story short, I think that Bowman hobby boxes will continue to go down. I think they'll go down to about $220. Again, quality of the rip. More and more hobby shops are getting allocated. We've seen that they've become more and more abundant. I think last Friday, a ton of Targets and Walmarts got them. Saw them come up a ton in all my Facebook groups, people selling them and undercutting prices. Now you're seeing blasters around 30. Before they're closer to $40 probably. So I don't know. I could see prices going down. I could see maybe at some point people not hoarding the blasters, especially now that the mega boxes have dropped. I've heard. I don't know if that's location specific, but I've seen pictures of the mega box dropping, which it's crazy to think about what those would resell at. Those were hard enough to find last year in a somewhat normal hobby year. So another factor that could hurt Bowman prices is the minor leagues. The minor leagues, it's pretty much all but formal at this point that those are they're going to get canceled. And it's a shame what's happened to, or what's about to happen to the minor leagues getting cut to save money. We're going to the more lean system. And they're supposed to cut, I think, the amateur draft. I don't know if completely, but a bunch of rounds in the amateur draft. You look at players in the past that got drafted because of that. It's guys like Jacob deGrom. He won 2 Cy Youngs in a row. Paul Goldschmidt, really great players. Yeah, and Megabox definitely has a lower print run. But last year, I think it was rumored or thought of that they doubled it from 2018. So this year, we'll see what they can do. They're clearly they're operating pretty lean at Topps right now. They're super behind, and they can't be cranking out Topps Update if there was a season in 2021 for this year, I would think. So they've got to really step up their game. I know PSA has kind of been very slow too since they reopened. Yeah. So one of the things, there's a ton of singles in this product. Guys like Dominguez, I talked about, Bobby Witt. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Poisson or Poisson. Some people say Paulson, even though there's no L. Pawson, Brennan Davis, Vidal Brujan, Bryce Ball, Anthony Volpe, John Diaz, Bayron Laura are some of the names that I've come across. One thing that I do when a Bowman product just comes out, the exception was last year with Wander Franco, because I was really bullish on him when that came out, and I was buying his raw autographs. And if you buy stuff in the first few weeks, you have the advantage where some of the stuff could actually be gem mint condition, even though you're buying it raw. So, and I got lucky with some of the Wanders, but usually I will wait till the hype subsides. Okay. Right now, again, supply demand mismatch. Ton of people that want the cards in it. Not a lot of people that have opened it yet. Still, you have hobby shops that haven't been fully allocated yet. Ton of products still, in warehouses and about to hit the shelves. So at this point, there's still a ton of demand for those singles, but there's not a whole lot of supply yet. Dominguez, $1,500 for a base Bowman Chrome autograph. Pawson. All right, thanks, Jake. $1,500 bucks for a base Bowman Chrome autograph of Dominguez. That is more than any other player in baseball other than Mike Trout. I think you can get a Ronald Acuna raw Bowman Chrome autograph. Might be a little banged up, but that would be under $1,500. So, and comparing him to Wander Franco, who's now the number one prospect, wasn't last year. He's on the Rays, not the Yankees. Wander Franco was about $500 when it came out. Base Bowman Chrome autograph raw. So 3 times. Dominguez is 3 times. I don't know. I'm a little wary that minor leagues, when they get canceled, it's gonna push people away from the unproven, more to the staples, the commodities. Maybe that means non-current players. Maybe that means proven veterans, the Mike Trouts, the Clayton Kershaws. Maybe it means Christian Yelich's, the guys in their mid to late 20s that are just more established. Or maybe it means Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna, the possible generational type guys that, in people's opinions, could have proven enough already for them to be safe investments, long-term stashes. But for the most part, the other 99% of the league, I think you're going to see some money get pushed out of Bowman. Baseball getting canceled, plus minor leagues getting canceled, the lack of development, the lack of stats, the lack of being able to get promoted. For most of these guys, if there is no season, there'll be a delay to their timeline. A lot of people, their exit strategy is when people get called up to the big leagues. Sure, if there was a baseball season this year with expanded rosters, Dylan Carlson, Joe Adell, and Wander Franco, maybe they get called up earlier than they would have. If the situation was normal, if there was no COVID. But most of the guys, I think, are going to suffer a bit, including pretty much everybody in this product, 2020 Bowman. One of the things I was looking at, the players, and like I said, usually, so with 2019 Bowman draft, when that came out, CJ Abrams, Andrew Vaughn, etc. I waited for attention to be pulled away from the previous Bowman products. And that's when I really started to buy up Marco Luciano. I saw that he was undervalued. I don't know if it's going to happen this time. And I don't know if I would buy at this point, given everything I talked about with minor leagues being canceled, baseball being canceled, just not looking good. And my allocation to younger players is already very high personally. But yeah, usually I would wait. I would wait on these guys. I wouldn't try to buy them. I wouldn't research them ahead of time. But for this video, I've researched the guys in this product. A lot of the guys I just mentioned. So Dominguez, we talked about. Right now, I think he's a number 38 Baseball America prospect. So that is quite crazy. He just turned 17. So not only is he 17, but I think he just turned 17 a few months ago. From the Dominican Republic, center fielder. Let me show you his body type real quick. All right. So hopefully you can see that this guy is gigantic. Not your typical center fielder, but put on a show, and Aaron Boone liked what he saw. Said he looked like an NFL running back. 5'10", 190. He looks there like he's 6'6", 260. Looks like he's Aaron Judge's size with mobility, which wouldn't be a good thing for his ability to stay healthy. But he's 5'9", 190. He's gigantic, and he's got power to all fields. And he put on a power show. I don't know how long a guy like with that body can stay as a center fielder, but Mike Trout was also a physical freak, and he lasted probably longer than people thought as well. So, all right, stop sharing. Other guys, so Bobby Witt, his Bowman Chrome base autograph, about $340. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop, plays for the Royals, which I don't know. With Wander Franco, it didn't stop me. Smaller market, terrible market in Tampa. They have a chance to go to the playoffs on a year in, year out basis, which helps. But some of the things that I don't really put too much credence into as much as most people is the market that they're on, just because it's so early. Nobody's thinking about them, being in front of 50 fans instead of 50,000. And it's variable. Teams are variable these days more than ever. Gleyber Torres started with the Cubs, ended up on the Yankees. So it can help you, it can hurt you. With Wander Franco's in his situation, it's not going to hurt him. You can't get any worse than where he is if he was to move situation. So, but Witt Jr., he's got speed, he's got some power, he's right-handed, he's got limited minor league at bats at this point. Robert Pawson, shortstop for the A's. This guy is interesting. He's going to be quite the wild card. He's 16 years old, international signing from the Dominican Republic. He's got a lean and wiry frame. I wonder if that projects him to kind of look like Carlos Correa and develop like that. I'm not sure. But they say that Pawson actually projects to be durable. His hitting mechanics need work, but he's a switch hitter. He's a fast twitch athlete, and they expect him to be quite good. Brennan Davis is probably the number 4 guy in the product right now, and that's probably where I would value him as well after reading all these guys' profiles. Outfielder, Cubs, good market there. 20 years old. He's an A-ball, and he's got a power speed combo. He's got enough patience. Doesn't strike out too much. Versus the next guy that I'm going to talk about, which is Bryce Ball. He's selling for about $105. Brennan Davis was around 150. Bryce Ball's first baseman, Braves, good market. 21 years old, A-ball. He's got very, very high, very, very impressive raw power. So Bill James' grade is 70, but strikeouts are definitely an issue with him. So maybe like a Nolan Gorman type. He's striking out at this point 5 times more than he's walking, but still he's killing it right now in A-ball. Great geek stats in A and rookie ball, weighted OBA of over 400. You don't know what that means. That's really, really good. That's what Christian Yelich did last year and the year before that, I believe. Anthony Volpe, shortstop. The best thing he has going for him is probably that he plays for the Yankees. He's 19, selling for about $90. His Bowman Chrome autograph base. He's in rookie ball. He, I don't know. I looked at his numbers. I didn't look into his pedigree. I didn't see any footage. I didn't see footage of any of these guys, by the way. I didn't have time. And for some of them, it'd be hard to find a few of the next guys I'm mentioning. But Volpe might not have the offensive makeup to be above average hitter in the league, I'm thinking. I think his prices are selling for $90 because he's on the Yankees. But, the Yankees give you a really nice floor as a prospect. Most of those guys sell for quite a bit. So, yeah. One of the guys that I kind of like, and this guy was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 or 8. John Diaz, and John is spelled Jhon. His base Bowman Chrome autograph selling for about $85. Again, I wouldn't buy any of these guys right now, just because I think, all the prices are about to come down a bit, starting with Dominguez. Maybe they won't come down too much on the Witt and the Pawson, but I think everybody else, there's a clear top 3, and everybody else, especially after Davis, they're really going to start to come down, maybe close to that $50 range. It's usually what happens for these types of products: Bowman Draft, Bowman Baseball, Bowman Chrome, with the first Bowman Chromes. But yeah, John Diaz, center fielder for the Rays. He's either 16 or 17 years old. He was another international signing. He's got a smaller build, kind of like Ozzie Albies, but his bat speed has drawn rave reviews. His plate discipline / approach, which is what drew me to Juan Soto. Not now, but when he was coming into the league, probably hadn't ever heard of his name until I think he had 5-6 games at AA, and he came up and killed it. And Juan Soto, looking at his profile, the on base percentage, the walkouts, the walks, the strikeouts, the average amount of pitches per plate appearance, something that I really liked, mature beyond his years. And John Diaz, they didn't compare him with Soto, but they did say that he has a very mature approach and that he sprays the ball to all fields, something that for me is very important if you're to maintain a high average. It also helps you avoid prolonged slumps. You won't get exposed as much. Usually, all else equal, certain pitches, people can kind of strategize. Pitchers can strategize and pitch you certain ways. They also said that he has one of the top baseball IQs in the country. I didn't write down, it might be Dominican Republic. Yeah, so small size, but everything else I read was very, very good. Doesn't have any minor league experience yet, international signing, and he is on the Rays. I don't know, because I have a place in my heart for the Rays. I like Austin Meadows too. Last guy that Pepino Man. Last guy that I looked at was Bayron Laura, outfielder. He doesn't have a Bowman Chrome autograph, by the way. Um, Bayron Laura is an outfielder for the Rangers. He's 17. He was another international signing. He's got 70 grade power. Somebody mentioned that he has swings where he's hit the ball 112 miles per hour. So 110 miles per hour is really tough to get in the majors, even with a lot of the stud hitters like the Nolan Arenados, the Freemans, the Alex Bregmans, Gleyber Torres. They usually won't get there. Usually 112, 110 plus is reserved for Acuna, Judge, Stanton, Soto, the real top hitters in the game. Maybe Bellinger and Yelich are about there. And don't quote me on this, but 112 miles per hour is good for a 16 or 17-year-old when he did it. 70 grade power, like I said. His issue is, I mentioned John Diaz being able to spread the ball out. Bayron Laura is very pull happy. So, and Julio Rodriguez, this was one of the gripes on him too, along with hitting the ball on the ground too much, which is good for batting average, but not good if you want to make an impact in the league and hit for a lot of power, especially with the way the games change and increasing your launch angle. But not to go down a rabbit hole, but Bayron Laura, pull happy. He's got issues with breaking balls right now. So it's going to take some adjustments for him to get into the class above where he is now, into the guys that are selling for close to $100. Somebody I skipped over is Vidal Brujan, 155 pounds, small guy. And his base Bowman Chrome auto right now is selling for about $85. Another guy plays for the Rays, second baseman, 22 years old. Double A right now. So he's been in the minors for a few years, since 2015, actually. And his numbers are quite good. He's got 40 plus stolen base potential. He's got a little bit of power. He's a plus defender. So he projects to be a very useful major leaguer, but not anybody that I'd be pouring any sort of money into. Maybe ends up being an Elvis Andrus type who's been a very good player for a long time, but where's his hobby, guys? It's really nowhere. So, all right, that's pretty much it for my talking points. You guys got any questions? Or, oh, David, you're talking about Vidal Brujan, 155 pounds, the body there, or? Yeah, Yelich. I'm telling you guys. I know Bellinger won the MVP last year by a lot, and at the time, I had more money invested in Bellinger cards. But the day before the MVP was announced, I was really looking into their stats, and I was really starting to second guess, like, I think this award's already baked into Bellinger's prices right now. Maybe I should be buying some Yelich's. He's offensively, he was the top player in the league last year and the year before. Especially if you look at those geek stats, the weighted OBA, the RC plus, the WAR, offensive WAR. With Bellinger, it was really not the stolen bases, because Yelich stole a lot of bases as well. I don't even think it was the fact that Yelich missed. Actually, that did hurt him. Yelich missed like the last 3 weeks of the season, but it was the defensive prowess of Bellinger. And Yelich isn't a bad defender, but Bellinger was elite last year. He's really good. Okay, so volume 18, rookie card explosion box lineup. So I would say that, think about the guys that are going to be relevant this month. There might be a certain documentary in mid-June. There might be some of those players featured. There's going to be some of the newest, hottest products featured. Maybe one of the ones we talked about in today's episodes. There's going to be maybe some Vlad short print action in there, if you know what I'm saying. No number. I don't think I can give away too much more, but it's going to be a good lineup. I didn't expand last month. I haven't officially announced, but I might expand again next month. And that'll be the last time in a while. If I do, it'll be another 36 boxes. And last night I made subscriptions available. Everybody asked me, it was probably 2 people a day were asking me, when are you going to make them available? Do you have them available? What time? Is it Eastern time? Do I have a chance early in the morning? I told most people, and if you watch my last lineup video, you'd see, I think I told people around 11:50 or 11:55 is when I usually upload the lineup to the website, which is what I did. 11:55 exactly last night, and 11 subscriptions sold in 5 minutes. And that doesn't include the 2 or 3 Canadian customers that are new. That one of them has been asking me if I'm shipping to Canada for over a year. I checked our Facebook history or message history. I think like May of 2019, he had asked me if I was shipping to Canada. Then he followed up with me when I said, and I showed, this is official. We're shipping to Canada. And I said, I have to get this guy in. I'll make an exception for a couple of these guys. So yeah, rookie card explosion box for life. That's right. And I'm telling you, last month, I don't know if you guys saw it. If you're not on other platforms, you might not have seen it, but there was a 1-of-1 Mike Trout autograph that came out of 2020 Topps Update. I don't know if it was just Topps Update or a silver pack. But yeah, that card has got to be an all-time top 2 hit. The only thing I would put over that is probably the 2012 Topps Update Platinum Parallel of Trout All-Star Game card. But I'd say both of those are raw, probably $4,000 and up, especially the 2012 Platinum Parallel. I know he had offers. That guy had offers well above 4,000 too at the time. And we know what's happened with Mike Trout's prices over the last year. Another great hit that came was Juan Soto 2018 Topps Heritage high number from a blaster. His black refractor numbered what was it, 67? And the guy that pulled it, I've had a chance to talk to him afterwards. He's got a channel, real nice guy. His name is spacing me at this moment, but I gave him some advice on grading, and I looked at the card and I told him, you definitely have to grade that. Don't sell that right now. He was getting offers before he even said he was selling it. He just shared his hit. People are interested in it, and he was able to get a BGS 9.5 with a 10 subgrade. I forget what that's on, probably surface. So those cards don't grade that easy. So that's a huge hit. Probably a $2,000 card. And I'd be inclined to hold it because I think a lot of the heritage stuff's underrated for that year, for all years, really. Oh, nice. You have a black refractive Acuna. Yeah, that's a good point, Tyler. Jesus Montero, the Yankees were so ecstatic about him. He was supposed to kill it, and they traded Michael Pineda. The Mariners did. Wait, which way did he go? Yeah, the Yankees traded Montero to the Mariners, who traded them Michael Pineda. And the Yankees were under a lot of scrutiny for that trade. And Montero did absolutely squat, just completely useless. So I think since then, talent evaluators have gotten better at what they're looking for. I think that's one of the reasons why Pawson has so much hype. He's an electric player. He can contribute in a lot of different ways. Everybody wants to find the next Acuna. Tatis is kind of like that if he stays healthy. Kind of fits that mold of can do multiple things. Hit for a high average last year. I think it's going to come down quite a bit because he struck out a lot. Really high batting average balls in play. But Tatis, good defender, really good arm speed. He's got wheels, can steal a lot of bases, and he obviously has pop. Acuna, we all know he does it all. And everybody's looking for like the next 5-tool type guy and get going nuts, if they think they can find maybe, needle in a haystack, and somebody that can do maybe half of what Acuna can do would be a big win probably for what they paid Pawson for. Yeah, Acuna does have a really good baseball IQ. Sometimes you question his effort in certain moments, but he's got the talent and he's got the intelligence. Clearly, he can make the offensive adjustments. He's been in the league for a year and a half. He's absolutely dominated. We probably haven't seen the best of him, which is kind of crazy to think of. When I used to do fantasy baseball a lot, what we read about and what I was trained was that offensive players usually peak at year 27, 28 is when they hit their offensive peak. So try to get that guy that's, already coming into his own. He's showing signs of improvement and he's turning 27 or 28. But these guys like Soto, Acuna, what they've done at age 19, 20, 21, what Acuna would have done at 22 this year is just quite insane. It's just insane. Maybe Acuna won't be able to keep the pace stolen base wise, but that's okay. And most guys that don't steal bases at rates that are above 80% aren't really helping their team anyways. So it's not going to really help your WAR too much if you don't steal bases with a high success rate. Yeah, Tatis. Fernando Tatis, he is injury prone. I was watching CBS Sports podcast, Scott White, Adam Azer, and forgetting the other guys' names, but for those of you that are into fantasy baseball, I mean, that's like the one to watch, I think. And I like how their opinions aren't always in alignment. They disagree with each other, which I like. You know, I want to pay you for your independent perspective, not for you to, oh yeah, I agree with that one. All right, let's move on to the next player. But what Scott White said about Tatis was it was two non-fluke injuries, style of play injuries. So it wasn't like, I got hurt like, what was it? Joel Zumaya that got hurt with his Nintendo Wii, like sprained his wrist or broke his arm or something, or people that fall through windows. Corey Hart like fell through glass or something once. No, these aren't fluke injuries. Like Tatis, that back injury, that's pretty serious. The other injury was pretty serious as well, and took him out for a lot of time. And a lot of the times when you're rookies, you play through injuries. He didn't. You've got to think like Corey Seager's got to be in your mind a little bit. Carlos Correa, he hasn't been injured quite as much as Seager, but it's definitely hurt him from being able to reach his full potential, having a full season where he's truly at his best. 1990 Topps Gold Cup Griffey. Why is that so expensive? Paul asked. I think it's just a really iconic card. People love the gold cups. A lot of people prefer that picture over Topps Traded from '89. I'm thinking. I mean, and a lot of Griffey's non-rookie card stuff's gone up. 1990 Bowman in a PSA 10 is 100, maybe $75. 90 Leaf in a PSA 10 is probably about $100 at this point. Somebody asked if 2018 Topps Update was still a good buy. Personally, even if you were to buy it to break it and not to resell it, 2018 Topps Update I think is a very strong buy. Well, not going to tell you guys to go crazy about it, but I think it's a good buy. I think if you're to compare it with other products, with Topps Heritage High Number from 2018, which is selling for $200 now, if you're to take 3 of those boxes of Topps Heritage High Number, and you're to take 1 box of 2018 Topps Update, you're to open, the 3 boxes versus the 1. You're to take what's gradable, send, everything to PSA. You're clearly going to get a lot more parallels with Topps Update, box per box, and the parallels are going to hold a ton more value versus the equivalents in Heritage. I think Topps Update would be the winner. And I think Hobby right now, paying, what is it, like $12, $14, $15 a pack, 36 packs for like $4.75. That's $12, $13 a hobby pack. Isn't that much worse than 2020 Bowman right now? And I talked about that earlier. I think prices will probably go down closer to 220 to 25 on that. But I compare it with another product that's been out for a while that's gone up a lot, like 2019 Topps Chrome, $200 for a hobby box now. 2018 Topps Chrome right now is $275 for a hobby box. People are pricing them at $325. I don't even want to know what below it has them at. But Topps Update's going to give you, Ohtani in a PSA 10, probably gems 70% of the time. Not 70% of the time for those who pull it, but of those that submit it, 70%. So say if you have 50% chance of getting an Ohtani PSA 10, given that you hit the Ohtani, which you probably will. It's not definite. You probably will. That's like a $70 card, I think, with upside. Gleyber Torres, I don't know where that is. Maybe like $90 at this point in a PSA 10. Soto, I think, has upside where he's at right now. And that's at 135, 140. Acuna, a little bit above that, maybe 200, 210. I'm not sure. Then all the parallels, guys. There's tons of parallels. There's Mike Soroka. There's Shane Bieber. Austin Meadows is a guy who I really like. Maybe I'm biased because I like a lot of those players, and I don't think many of them are flukes at all. The top rookies in that product. Gleyber Torres, if he stays on the Yankees, and he shows a little bit of improvement each year. He doesn't have to get that much better. He's already shown so much at this point. I think Topps Update isn't a bad buy at this point, whether you're to buy and hold or if you're to buy and open. As crazy as $500 might seem, $500 this year is a lot different than $500 last year, given where all of the other hobby packs, hobby prices are at, and also given where singles prices are now for a lot of these base rookie cards. Last year, you could pick up Ronald Acuna 2018 Topps Update PSA 10s for like 35, for 65 for a while, 85, but it's not like that anymore. And I don't know if we're ever going to see that completely come back to where things were, given the way the landscape's changed. The newer collectors, investors preferring the flagship rookie. You don't ever hear them talking about, oh, I want their first heritage rookie. That's the only one that I want. I need their heritage parallels. No, it's usually a fallback option, which is unfortunate because I do love heritage as well. And also another thing, if you look at hobby boxes for 2018 Topps Update, and you might be like, oh well, can't be a good deal because it was like 300 2 months ago. And somebody on Twitter actually used this argument, and I brought it up to him. I said, well, just because the hobby box went up 67% in 2 months and the singles didn't, that doesn't give you the full story. The singles pretty much stayed the same and the hobby boxes went up, but that's because the hobby box prices weren't fully adjusted to the Gary V, or whatever you want to call it, the base card pump of late February. So basically, if you're to go back to January's prices, if you look at singles, if you look at hobby boxes, we could even bring up retail configurations as well. But I think those have gone up more because the retail stocks really dried up. Probably that started in January when people stopped finding like the fat packs and like big lots. But what I'm trying to get to is it's proportionate. PSA 10s of Acuna were probably $85 in January. 2018 Topps Update base. The hobby boxes of 2018 Topps Update were $250 in January. I know because I bought some. And now, $475 for the hobby boxes, and now you see double, maybe more. Maybe the base card's actually gone up more than the hobby box, than the prices of the wax itself. So yeah, so that's my rant there. So 2018 archives. I don't know a whole lot about that product other than usually it's not, the strongest, perceived as the top 5 or 6 to get. Investors usually shy away from archives, Allen and Ginter, Gypsy Queen, Bowman Platinum. Most of the products outside of the Topps Chrome, the Bowmans, the Topps flagships, and very select other sets. But if Acuna ends up being a generational type guy that I think 70% of the collectors think he is already, then yeah, I think people will eventually go for his other stuff. The heritage cards will go up, followed by the Topps Finest cards, the Topps archives, everything else. You can even look into some of the maybe non-licensed stuff. You look at Mike Trout. What's the last stuff that went up? Bowman Platinum was up. Topps Finest was up. Bowman's Best was up. 2012 Topps Heritage was up. And by the way, went crazy recently and came back down a little bit. And then you started to see the prism really start to explode from 2012, not even a true rookie for him. So you got to think like, maybe Acuna's non-licensed stuff will eventually start to go up too. But with archives, and the reason why I haven't bought any for the rookie card explosion box, well, one, because I'm not sure if people will like the product as much as what I'm including. They're kind of used to the Bowman, Chrome, Heritage, flagship mix at this point for the new stuff. I'm not sure when that upswing happens. I don't know if it's when Acuna goes 50-50, if that ever happens. I don't know if it's after he has 2 MVPs. I don't know if that's after he wins his first World Series and has 1 MVP. So personally, I'm finding other stuff to buy that I think has upside. And sometimes it doesn't have Acuna in it. 2018 Topps Series 1 is a product I started to buy up a lot, showed off that on videos. Did a video where I talked about 2020 Topps Series 1 and how this is the most hype a Series 1 release has ever had, or even flagship release had ever had, most hype before it came out. And I showed 2018 Series 1. I opened a box, talked about I was undervalued. That was a $29 retail box that now sells for probably closer to $70. Hobby boxes at the time were $45, and they're now closer to $90. and Blowout is pricing them way above that. So sometimes you just got to look in different places. You got to see what's gone up already and what hasn't yet, even if it doesn't have the players that you're looking for. But it does help if it has multiple star players, like a lot of those 2018 products do have. Yeah, Bing Scott, you missed the 2020 Bowman talk. I'll be uploading that. Yeah, yes, Mike O is right. So Soto, something I need to talk about more. I've talked about it once. Soto has very, very few rookie cards compared to Acuna. If you look at Acuna's best rookie cards, even his best or his top 5-10, and I'm not actually looking at a list, or I'm just kind of doing this in my head, but Topps Chrome Sapphire is one of Acuna's best rookie cards. Soto doesn't have it, and he doesn't have a replacement either. It's not like he's in something else that Acuna wasn't in. Top Series 2 bat down. Soto wasn't in Top Series 2. Didn't have a short print that's highly sought after. Regular Topps Chrome. Nope, Soto's not in that either. Bowman Chrome non-autograph first. Nope, Soto just has an autograph for his first Bowman card. He doesn't in 2016. He didn't have a non-autograph. And then even if you were to break it down into shimmers, so Acuna's got a gold shimmer. He's got a 70th anniversary blue for his Bowman Chrome in 2017. He's got a few other things going on, funky colors. Soto doesn't have that. He just has the base, the refractor, purple, green, blue, gold, orange, red, super. It might be missing one. Doesn't have black. He doesn't have any shimmers. He doesn't have any waves. And there's some other cards in definitely like on-demand 3D. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that one. No heritage action. And what Mike O said was that Archives was Soto's first rookie card. His first Topps issued card with the rookie card logo on it came from Topps Archives. So I had that in the back of my head, but we were talking about Acuna. I don't know how much that's going to help the product in the long term. I don't know how much that a PSA 10 is selling for compared to Acuna at this point. I didn't think there was a big difference. So, but with one of the reasons why I like 2018 Topps Update is because that Soto card could have, there's a possibility that at some point it surpasses Acuna for reasons other than performance. And it could be because people just realize like, oh, wow, like, yeah, Soto has Topps Chrome Update, and people like that a lot more than Acuna's Topps Chrome Update, where he's standing there looking like kind of like, a lazy jerk. I love Acuna, but people don't like that pose of him. And people love the Soto pose because it's the same one as his true rookie as well. So I think there's enough room, even given the print runs of Topps Chrome Update and Topps Update. I think there could be room for those cards in the long term. So if there's a pullback on those cards, like there is for a lot of the younger, unproven players and prospects, like I expect in the next coming weeks, there could be one that I'd be looking to buy, the Topps Update or Topps Chrome Update again, even though I already had like 40 of them and I sold them. Oh yeah, so Adam, wow, you had a lot too. Yeah, I bought like 63 Topps Chrome Update Sotos, HMT 55s. Average price was like $10.58. I submitted, I think 40 to PSA. I've gotten back 30, sold all 30, unfortunately. And it was before the prices really started to take off. I just didn't think it was like that in demand of a card. And I hadn't really thought through like how few rookie cards Soto had. All I saw was, print run or pop report was like 5,000 at the time. I thought it was a ton. Hobbies changed a lot. A lot of new people have come in, and a pop percentage of 97% or whatever it is, I get 10s. It's not going to scare me away as much as it did before. So, yeah. Vlad, Topps Chrome, same pose as the short print, no number. So it'll be interesting to see. It's so hard because there's so many variations with cards these days. I posted a video where I talked about, the hierarchy of Topps Chrome and all the different Topps Chrome issues of a certain player with all these different examples of the newer guys. And then I compare that with the Topps flagship releases of those players. And like with Vlad, it's so close between Topps Chrome Update. People tend to love the update. They like Topps Chrome Update. But they like Topps Chrome usually more if the image matches the short printed card, if there was a short print from flagship. So with Vlad, Topps Chrome will probably win, but Topps Chrome Update's also very strong. His Topps Update card is right there too. The US one. They all have different patterns with like poses matching different images, and I don't know. It's just a crazy landscape we live in, and it's only going to get crazier. What Topps is doing, and they have to meet demand, so it stems from them creating more cards, basically. Yeah, Keston Hira, he's a guy I like a lot. 2019 Topps Update is a product that I thought was a bit overrated when it came out, but I was smart enough to understand like this is one that it has enough guys that are here. Hira is here and Vlad is here, even though he hasn't done a whole lot yet. He's still here. But there's another. There's Kevin Biggio, the Austin Rileys, the Luis Arias, Carter Keyboom, Brendan Rodgers, I think, is in there. There's so many guys that have the chance to make the leap to be elite. That's all it takes. So as long as you're okay with holding and waiting till that happens, and even if you just held till now, those boxes are about 125 now. And when they started, I was getting them at around 75. Some people probably closer to 85 range. Oh, right. Will Smith is a catcher, but plays for the Dodgers. And he's like the 10th or he's like top 10 to 15. So Oscar Mercado, a lot of guys in there. Yeah. Brandon Lowe, he was probably the rookie of the year favorite for a while, got injured. A little bit older of a prospect. So somebody's asking about Cody Bellinger. And by the way, I'm going to probably cut this off pretty soon because I got to, I want to upload this and I want there to be some replay value, I guess. But yeah, Cody Bellinger, rookie card that has the most upside and value. Not everybody likes heritage cards at this point as much as flagship, and that's okay. And that might not ever change. And you can blame Topps Update 2011 Mike Trout partially for some of that. You can blame, other things for that as well. We won't get into that, but something that a lot of people have grown to like. One of the issues from heritage is the action variation. And with Cody Bellinger, his action variation in a PSA 10 is, last time I checked, it was selling for about $200. And if you're to compare that with Fernando Tatis, it's a lot less. If you compare that with Acuna, it's probably like 40%. I think it's probably half or a little bit less than half. And this Cody Bellinger has shown quite a bit. He's been overshadowed by Acuna and Soto from an investor standpoint, but his accomplishments on the field have been right there. And sophomore slumps happen. So he's had 3 years, and 2 have been really good. One's still been good, but not for Bellinger standards. And a lot of people were probably turned off by the second half slump. The decreased batting average, I think, in every month after April or May, it went down. But if you're to compare his strikeout percentage from last year in the second half versus the year before, where he really struggled, it showed that, Cody Bellinger is not the guy we saw in the second half. If you're to look at his full season, I think that's more of what Cody Bellinger really is. He's not the first half Cody Bellinger. He's not the second half. He's somewhere in between. Look at his full stat line and judge him like that. Ramon Laureano, last guy I'm going to talk about. Oh, yeah, high fives Bellinger. Rage, my buddy Chris pulled that. Crazy pull. That's a huge card now. Probably the third best pull that I saw. Second best probably on video. But Ramon Laureano is a guy I really like. But at this point, I'm trying to stay away from the guys that are less proven. I'm trying to manage risk, and my exposure to those guys is already a lot. And I think that there's going to be some movement of money from young, from unproven, from prospects into the more known commodities, the staples, whether that means non-current players like Ichiro or players even before that, the Derek Jeters, or whether that means the guys that are locks to be Hall of Famers right now, the Max Scherzers, the Kershaws, the Mike Trouts. I don't know. I could see some of that happening this is all because of baseball maybe not happening, and the minor leagues not happening is another further hit to some of these minor league guys. Not all of them, but some of them. All right. So thanks, guys. Hour and 15 mark, 100 strong still. Glad you guys were able to attend. Thanks so much for joining, and take care. And good luck collecting, flipping, investing, whatever it is that you do. And was glad I was able to answer some questions at the end for everybody. So take care, everyone. Filmington out.